Hi there, welcome to Secret Places in the Open Air. I'm your host, Ivan Taprod. To begin today's show, I'd like to tell you about one of my boyhood heroes, Earl Krieger, who some people say was responsible for giving the little town I grew up in, Dipstick, Nebraska, its name. Earl Krieger lived at a time when Dipstick, Nebraska was called B33. The town was named after its grid coordinates on a U.S. Geological Survey map. Earl was a bachelor farmer, and he was an inventor. He had dozens of U.S. patents in his name. Shortly after moving into town, so he could dedicate himself to inventing things full-time, Earl received in the U.S. mail a patent awarding him rights to the dipstick. He figured the patent was a joke, sent to him by some disgruntled federal worker. He talked about the mistake to the editor of the local county newspaper, a weekly publication, and the paper published an article, much like previous articles it had written about Earl. The article praised Earl for his genius and called him a great man for having invented the dipstick. Mayor Swinburne, who was all things to all people, a man of faith, and a man who drank beer, read the newspaper article, then read it again. He had the idea of his lifetime. He decided to change the name of his town from B33 to Dipstick. Meanwhile, Earl Krieger started working on Ear Gunk Begone, a phone cleaning device, and the Blow It Big bubblegum mouth insert. These were the days before remote control, even before the drive-in movie. Nuclear weapons had just been invented, but highway speed limits were still 45 miles per hour. Where are we going to get the money? Swinburne asked his assistant Maggie. If we want change, we'll need to pay. They decided to set up a speed trap on the highway that ran through town. They posted one sign that said 45, and a short while later, another that said 20. The second sign had another sign under it on the same pole, which said, "Fines triple." Money started rolling in. The city's cash on hand ballooned. Mayor Swinburne was everywhere, going to church with his Bible in hand, drinking champagne to celebrate New Year's, drinking green beer on St. Patrick's Day. On the night of Halloween, he wore a clock face as a mask. It was exactly the go-getter image that he wanted to present. The people of the town loved their mayor. They loved his idea for changing the name of the town. But mostly the people just liked to drink beer. "You can't change the town's name to Dipstick," said hanging Judge Schwartz, who was known for assessing heavy speeding fines. "The U.S. Patent Office doesn't recognize that patent. To call this town Dipstick would be a lie." Mayor Swinburne responded with a short but steamy affair with Lulu, the cleaning lady. The money from the speed traps kept coming in. Judge Schwartz bought a wig, like judges wear in Britain, and he strutted around wearing it in the privacy of his home. Earl Krieger invented talking soap, the edible shoe, strength pills for toddlers, new ways to clean elephants, a plug-in breast augmentation device, and better ways to plant grass. The people of the town drank beer. When the governor signed the name change permit, Swinburne and Maggie danced around the office. They high-fived each other and bumped their fists. They drank martinis and smoked cigars. The money kept rolling in, even with the interstate being built, even with the speed limit increase to 55. "Statues of steel rust," said Judge Schwartz, referring to the bronze and steel statue of a dipstick that had been erected in the town square. "You can't teach children falsehoods," he said of the school boards adopting a new, locally written dipstick curriculum for social studies class. "Signs grow old and fade," he said of the "Where the Dipstick Was Invented" welcome sign that stood at the midpoint of the point-to-point speed trap on the edge of town. "Our football team is winning, playing like they've got a chip on their shoulder. We are now united by a common belief. We share the same perspective on our past. The world may deny it, but we are good people, and our values are right. We are dipstick. We have integrity. We are true." As Earl Krieger grew older, he paid less and less attention to the cares and politics and social interactions of other people. He invented the portable sonic nutcracker, and he truly believed that the world would be a better place if people would just crack nuts instead of yelling at each other. Toward the end of his life, he tried to build a camera, which he claimed could see into the human soul and weigh a man's spiritual worth. "God will strike that man down," warned Judge Schwartz. "It's the Tower of Babel all over again. Men should not dare to rival God." Earl Krieger was brought to the hospital, where he was given a remote control for his TV. He was also shown a control panel with buttons that he could press to make his bed rise and fall. He found his new environment absolutely fascinating, and he vowed that if he ever got well, he would invent a remote control TV viewing station with a miniature refrigerator and an easy-to-attach catheter that would allow a person to watch TV and drink beer without ever having to get up and go to the bathroom. Unfortunately, the TV viewing station was never invented. Earl Krieger never did get well. The Man on the Moon. Buddy was a man of authority, a man of ideas, with strong opinions. He invested other people's money without ever seeing the cash. He monitored their money on his company-issued laptop. He put the money where it would grow, under umbrellas to protect it against falls. Buddy dated a beautiful woman named Emily, who had very long and beautiful hair. She was a kept woman, with an agenda of her own, who looked down on him. He felt pretty certain that she was seeing other men. Buddy would smoke his hookah, and he would begin to imagine other people with hookahs smoking on the lawn. He became a man on the moon, a watcher of the world from afar. But he was not the only man on the moon. "Hey, Buddy, look who's here. It's me, Ready Freddy, come to see what's happening in the world of high finance." "I've got good news for you, sir. Your portfolio is up 20%. What do you think about that?" "I like your Kool-Aid, man. Great minds drink alike.
Just keep the portfolio growing at a 20% rate, and you and I will be all right. Buddy worked hard and questioned everything. He analyzed the numbers, sought to quantify trends. He was always thinking, always seeking new ways to frame reality, to rebuild broken bridges, and to understand the numbers behind the events. Yet, wherever he went, wherever he looked, in whatever distant land, he always felt like a man on the moon. That's why he smoked his hookah. When he did so, he would always be surprised to find other men on the moon. To find people like Ready Freddy, or the kid who worked as an intern. Even his girlfriend Emily, who was not a man at all, became a man on the moon whenever Buddy smoked his hookah. The thing that Buddy wondered, that puzzled him most of all, was who in the world were all those people on the planet Earth?
And now, here's a public service announcement from your cat who wants to be your friend. Some cats like to be held. Some cats like to be kissed. Some cats do the kissing, and some cats like to be licked. Some cats are clever. Some cats are crazy. Just always remember, your cat is your friend. Cats can make you sneeze. They are known to shred your upholstery. If you die with a cat in your house, it might eat you. But don't take any offense. Your cat is just being a cat. The impossibility of history. It seems sometimes that history is a long recounting of improbable events. A carpenter's son was crucified in a minor province of the Roman Empire, and after his death, the improbable happened. Some would say the miraculous. He was proclaimed to be the Savior of the world. Christianity, the largest religion in the world, was founded in his name. 1,500 years later, in another part of the world, the Inca Empire stretched 1,000 miles along the spine of the Andes Mountains. Francisco Pizarro and Hernando de Soto, with 280 men and 55 horses, were able to tear that empire down? The collapse of Germany after World War I empowered Adolf Hitler, as unlikely a leader as you can get. The French Revolution gave rise to Napoleon, a little guy, a former nobody who wore a big hat. With the fall of Tsarist Russia, Vladimir Lenin seized the day. How can these crazy things happen? What is going on? In the wake of the collapse of the last imperial dynasty of China, as his enemies fought the invading Japanese and finally defeated them, Mao Zedong, the son of a peasant farmer, conquered China and made it a communist state. In that instant of history, it seemed for the moment as if communism was the wave of the future, as if to communist ideology the nations of the world would like dominoes fall. Yet, in but an instant, a blink of the eye later, the last standing section of the Berlin Wall became an outdoor art gallery. East and West Germany were reunited. The Soviet Union broke apart. Communist China became a rising capitalistic state. The European Union was united under a single currency. Now the question becomes, good heavens, what is going to happen next? Hey, Hernandez, you want an air artichoke? Here, go out for a pass. Media Tierra signifies middle of the earth and is the name that ancient Europeans gave their sea, the Mediterranean. The middle of the earth is what we inhabit, the land upon which we walk, whether we live in Europe or the United States or China. The astronomers tell us that we inhabit one planet among 8 planets that revolve around our sun, that our solar system is just one tiny speck in the great expanse of the Milky Way, and that the Milky Way is just one in millions of galaxies in a universe that is expanding continuously and at an accelerated rate. Hey, Alice, what do you want, Roy? That's kind of scary, don't you think? I mean, eternity? Not really, Roy. I think eternity is nice. But don't you think that the universe should stop somewhere? You know, with maybe a brick wall or something? What would there be after the brick wall? You scare me sometimes, Alice. Really. Sometimes you just boggle my mind. Yet, wherever we are, in whatever land we might find ourselves, that land is our land, the center of our world. It is our motherland, or it is our fatherland. And the people who inhabit that land with us are our people, our family, our friends. All that we know for certain is the deep beauty of those eyes that we look into, of those lips that we kiss, and the rich tastes and smells of the middle of the earth, which is the place where we stand. And now, here's a public service message from your doctor who would like to give you a brain implant. They don't make ironing boards like they used to. Cardboard boxes don't seem as fun. The mice are becoming more clever than the mousetraps, and the factories are making androids to be people's girlfriends. Do you miss the old days when a rooster could be your companion? Do you fear that you will go the way of the rhino? Your doctor has an answer for this. Go to his office and get an implant for your brain. Shifting of brain implants can cause itchiness or minor headaches, which are perfectly normal. In rare cases, brain implants have been shown to cause Tourette syndrome, marginalization of cognition, anorexia and loss of appetite, desynchronization of autonomic processes, and bedwetting. If you or a loved one with a brain implant exhibits any of these symptoms, please call your doctor. Looking tall. Your office has you on inferior equipment. The executive secretary looks down on you. The chief financial officer, Kent, is downright hostile. Fat and scary, too. Even technical support treats you with disrespect. Carl, that patronizing bastard, has the arrogance to tell you about dating. It's like sitting on a couch wearing a mask, he smugly tells you.
Your date joins you on the couch, and you wonder where her head is at. She starts flirting with you, starts coming on to you, prompting you to take your mask off, to start becoming the aggressor. She then suddenly backs away and leaves you alone on the couch. Where does Carl get off talking to you like this? It all drives you crazy, makes you want to go nuts. It's like you're in jail and can't get out. Then you buy from a street vendor an exotic blue butterfly in a canning jar, and you suddenly have a bright idea. You start working out, getting ripped, lose the fat, start referring to your stomach as a six-pack, to your biceps as guns. You come to believe in the power of mind over matter, that the human brain can silently and invisibly transmit secret thoughts. You start visualizing your enemies in tiny canning jars, all of them but Kent the accountant, who is too fat to be made small. But Kent can't run away. You have another idea. You have an accounting scheme, a plan to cook the books. You get your hands in everybody's business, act like you're on the go with a schedule to meet. Kent, the accountant, doesn't even know what is happening to him. Suddenly, you've got money. You're looking clean and good. You're happier than in a long time, all the while pretending that your head is in the sand. Then the next thing you know, they put you in jail. Not for your accounting scheme or some other nefarious act, but because you were in possession of an exotic, nearly extinct blue butterfly. The Guy with the Guitar. The variable X thought of himself as a guitar player, synced with the music, going with the flow. X lived in a world of statistics and quantifications, where goals morphed into probabilities and triumphs were tallied as time-keeping scores.
Money is the measure of all things, said old Mr. Carlton. Everything has a price. That which can be measured is the only reality. The bottom line is the bottom line. It's not the play or the action that matters. It's the end. It's the final score.
X lived in a binary world, a world of ones and zeros, where a victory is a 1 and a loss is a 0. A person goes to heaven or a person goes to hell. But X was a guitar player, a rhythm and blues musician, a player of songs. For him, it was the music, the strange dance that he had been born into, the curious interaction of lovers and of strangers, of unexpected passions and all too predictable laws. It was the music that nurtured him, the music that sustained him, the music which could never love him, but which he had grown so deeply to love.
And now, here's a public service announcement from Your Shoes, who want you to know that wherever you go, they are always there with you. You have piles of shoes in your closet, more than you will ever need, and still you go shopping for more. They follow you home to new piles in your closet, and then you go out and buy more. Shoes don't have the answers you are looking for. People won't remember your shoes when you're dead, but your shoes will always be there with you when you are sitting and when you are standing and even when you are upside down. Your shoes can't make you happy. They can cause backaches and may be uncomfortable to walk in. As soon as you buy a new pair of shoes, that style will become unfashionable and you will have to buy a new pair again. Children of God. When I was a boy, growing up in the 1950s, still in my preschool years, I watched a lot of television shows and old movies about World War II. I remember going to San Francisco and sitting in the back seat of my father's car, with my father driving and my mother beside him. I noticed as we were stopped at a crosswalk that there were a number of Oriental people about. "Look," I said, "there's a Jap, and there's another one, and there's another one." My father looked at me sternly. "Jap is a pejorative term. It's a racial slur. Those people you are pointing at are Oriental people, and they're also Americans, just like you and me. They call them Japs in the movies. John Wayne calls them Japs. You are better than that. You are a child of God. You need to hold yourself to a higher standard. You need to give people a chance, get to know them, try to understand them." Now, my father is in a nursing home, dying from the head down. His body still strong, but his memories corroded, his personality falling apart. When other people look at him, they see somebody who is a behavioral problem or even a threat, and the nursing staff administers to him large doses of major tranquilizers to keep him in line. Yet, when I see him, I see a man who once understood what it is to be a child of God. I see a person who believed that he was called to treat all people with love and dignity, as if they too were children of God. Thank you for watching Secret Places in the Open Air. At the beginning of each month, we begin broadcasting a new show. Our time slot is 10:30 Wednesday and 10:30 Saturday. So be watching for a new show at the beginning of next month. We also have a YouTube channel where you'll find most of our videos in high definition. Just Google Ivan Taprod to find it on the web. And while you're at it, visit Ivan Taprod on Google Plus and Twitter too. See you next time.